Oh man, you know what happened to me yesterday? I was at the coffee shop, and when I went to pay, I realized I was completely broke. Like, not a single dollar in my wallet.
Wait, broke? You mean you didn't have any money on you?
Exactly. And the worst part, I had to ask my friend to spot me $5 for a coffee. So embarrassing.
Okay, hold up. That's actually perfect for today's topic. Hey everyone, welcome back to English Podcast Adventures. I'm Sophia, and this is Michael, and we're here to help you sound more natural when you're speaking English.
That's right. And today we're diving into something that comes up in conversation all the time, talking about money. Because let's be real, whether you're traveling, working, or just living your daily life, you're going to need to talk about money at some point.
And Michael just gave us a perfect example. He said he was broke, which doesn't mean he's literally broken, obviously. When we say someone is broke, we mean they don't have any money or they have very little money.
Right. It's super casual though. Like if you're talking to your friends, you might say, I'm broke this month, or I'm totally broke until payday. But you probably wouldn't say that to your boss or in a formal situation.
Exactly. And notice how I said, spot me $5? That's another really natural way to ask someone to lend you money. To spot someone means to lend them money, usually a small amount, and usually when they're in a tight situation.
Yeah, and bucks is just slang for dollars. So instead of saying, can you lend me $5? You could say, can you spot me $5? It sounds way more natural and casual.
Love that. And speaking of casual, there are so many ways to talk about money that sound way more natural than the formal stuff you might learn in textbooks. Like, instead of saying, I don't have sufficient funds, you could say, I'm strapped for cash.
Ooh, that's a good one. Strapped for cash means you're short on money, usually temporarily. Like maybe you just paid rent and now you're strapped for cash until your next paycheck.
And here's something interesting. We have different ways to talk about having money, too. If someone has a lot of money, we might say they're loaded or they're rolling in dough.
Rolling in dough. I love that expression. Dough is slang for money, by the way. So if someone's rolling in dough, they have plenty of money. But again, this is casual language. You wouldn't say this in a business meeting.
Right. Context is everything. And you know what? Sometimes it's not about how much money you have, but how you handle it. Like some people are really good at saving money. We call them thrifty, or we say they're good with money.
And then there are people like me who spend money as soon as they get it. We might say someone burns through money or they're a big spender.
Are you calling yourself a big spender, Michael?
Maybe, but hey, that's why I end up broke at coffee shops. But seriously, these expressions are so useful because they help you describe people's relationship with money in a natural way.
Totally. And you know what's really cool? A lot of these money expressions actually come from other areas of life. Like dough comes from bread making, and bucks originally referred to deer skin, which was used as currency way back in the day.
That's fascinating. But for our listeners, the most important thing is just knowing how to use these naturally in conversation. And honestly, the best way to learn is to hear them in context.
Absolutely. So let's listen to a real conversation where people are talking about money. This is between two friends, and listen for some of the expressions we just talked about.
Hey, Sarah, want to grab dinner tonight? There's this new Italian place downtown.
Oh, I'd love to, but I'm totally strapped for cash this week. I just paid my car insurance and rent, so I'm pretty much broke until Friday.
No worries. My treat. I just got my bonus, so I'm feeling pretty good about money right now.
Really? That's so sweet of you, Jake. But are you sure? I know you're saving up for your vacation.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty thrifty, but I can definitely spot you dinner. Besides, what's the point of having money if you can't enjoy it with friends?
You're the best. But next time, dinner's on me. Deal?
Deal. And don't worry about being broke. We've all been there. Remember last month when I had to ask you to cover my coffee?
Oh, right. You were completely tapped out after buying that new laptop.
Exactly. See, it all evens out in the end.
Okay, so much good stuff in there. Did you catch all those natural money expressions?
So,
Okay, so much good stuff in there. Did you catch all those natural money expressions?
Right? So Sarah said she was strapped for cash and broke until Friday. That's such a natural way to explain that you don't have money right now, but you will soon.
And Jake offered to pay by saying, my treat. That's a really common way to offer to pay for someone, much more natural than saying, I will pay for you.
Plus, he mentioned being thrifty, which means being careful with money, good at saving. And Sarah mentioned that Jake was topped out after buying his laptop. That's another way to say someone has no money left.
Tapped out is perfect. It's like a water tap that's been turned off, no more money flowing. And did you notice how they both acknowledge that money situations change? Jake said we've all been there when talking about being broke.
That's so true. And it shows something really important about English-speaking culture. People are usually pretty understanding about money struggles. It's normal to talk about these things with friends.
Exactly. And the phrase, it all evens out, that Jake used, that means things balance out over time. Like sometimes you pay, sometimes your friend pays, and in the end, it's fair.
I love how natural all of this sounds. If you're learning English and you want to sound more fluent, these are the kinds of expressions that'll really help you connect with people.
And here's a little tip. If you're ever in a situation where someone offers to pay for you and you want to be polite, you can say, are you sure? Like Sarah did. It shows you appreciate the offer, but you don't want to take advantage.
Great point. And if you want to insist on paying someone back later, you can say, next time it's on me, or dinner's on me next time. That's a really natural way to show you'll return the favor.
Oh, and by the way, if you're loving these natural expressions and you want to hear more, definitely hit that follow button. We're always sharing practical English that you can actually use in real conversations.
Yes, and honestly, money talk is everywhere. Whether you're shopping, talking to friends, or even just watching movies, you're going to hear these expressions all the time.
So true. And the thing is, once you start noticing these patterns, you'll hear them everywhere. Like, have you ever noticed how many different ways we have to talk about expensive things?
Oh, that's a great point. We could say something costs a fortune, or costs an arm and a leg, or it's pricey, or steep.
Right. And each one has a slightly different feel. Costs a fortune is pretty dramatic. You'd use it for something really expensive. Pricey is more casual. And steep is often used for things like prices or fees that seem higher than they should be.
And then there's overpriced, which is when you think something costs more than it's worth. Like if you pay $15 for a basic sandwich, you might say, that was totally overpriced.
Oh, I hate ripoffs. Like those tourist traps where they charge you $20 for a bottle of water. Speaking of which, have you ever been in a situation where you had to haggle or negotiate a price?
Oh man, yes, especially at markets or when you're buying something used. And that's where you really need to know how to talk about money naturally. You can't just say, I want to pay less money.
Right. You need to know phrases like, can you do any better on the price? Or is there any room to negotiate? These sound so much more natural than textbook English.
And if someone's asking too much, you might say, that's a bit out of my budget, or that's more than I was hoping to spend. It's polite, but clear.
I love out of my budget. It's such a useful phrase. Your budget is basically how much money you've planned to spend on something. So if a hotel room costs $200, but your budget is $100, you'd say it's out of your budget.
And here's something cool. We use budget as a verb, too. You can say, I need to budget for my vacation, which means you need to plan how much money to spend on different things.
That's so practical. And budgeting is actually a really common topic in English-speaking countries. People talk about budgeting for groceries, budgeting for entertainment, budgeting for emergencies.
Speaking of emergencies, that brings up another important money concept, having an emergency fund. That's money you save specifically for unexpected expenses.
Yes, and if you don't have an emergency fund and something unexpected happens, you might say you're caught short or in a tight spot financially.
Caught short is perfect. It means you don't have enough money for something you need right now. Like if your car breaks down and you're caught short, you might not be able to afford the repairs immediately.
And being in a tight spot is similar. It means you're in a difficult financial situation. These are really natural ways to describe money problems without being too dramatic about it.
Exactly. And you know what? Sometimes when people are in a tight spot, they need to find creative ways to make money. We call that making ends meet, which means earning just enough to pay for your basic needs.
Making ends meet is such a useful expression. It's like when your income barely covers your expenses. You're not broke, but you're not comfortable either.
Right. And if you're really struggling to make ends meet, you might need to tighten your belt, which means spending less money and being more careful with your finances.
Oh, that's a great one. Tighten your belt comes from the idea that when you don't have much food, you literally tighten your belt because you're thinner. But now it just means being more careful with money.
And on the flip side, if you're doing well financially, you might say you're comfortable or doing well for yourself. These are nice, humble ways to say you have enough money without bragging.
I like that. And if you want to talk about someone who's really successful, you might say they're well off or doing very well. It's more polite than saying someone is rich.
Though sometimes we do use rich, especially in casual conversation, but there are fun ways to say it too, like they're loaded or they're rolling in it.
Rolling in it? I love that. It's like they have so much money, they're literally rolling in it. And here's something interesting. We often use these expressions when we're talking about purchases or investments.
Oh, absolutely. Like if someone buys an expensive car, you might say, wow, they must be doing well. Or that must have cost a pretty penny.
Cost a pretty penny is so charming. It's an old-fashioned way to say something was expensive, but people still use it. It's more playful than just saying, that was expensive.
And speaking of old-fashioned, there's penny pinching, which means being very careful with money, almost to the point of being cheap. A penny pincher tries to save money on everything.
That's interesting because it can be positive or negative depending on the context. Being thrifty is usually seen as good, but being a penny pincher might seem a bit extreme.
Exactly. It's all about balance. And you know what's funny? We have so many expressions about pennies and cents, even though they're the smallest amounts of money.
Right, like, it doesn't make sense, which is a pun on doesn't make sense, or my 2 cents, when you want to give your opinion about something.
Oh, my 2 cents is everywhere. It's such a humble way to share your opinion. Instead of saying, I think this, you can say, here's my 2 cents. Or, for what it's worth, here's my 2 cents.
And there's penny for your thoughts when you want to know what someone is thinking about. These little expressions just make English sound so much more natural and interesting.
They really do. And the cool thing is, once you know these expressions, you'll start hearing them in movies, TV shows, casual conversations. They're everywhere.
Speaking of hearing them in real life, let's listen to another conversation. This one's between a customer and a salesperson, and you'll hear some great examples of natural money talk in a shopping situation.
Hi there. I'm interested in this laptop, but the price seems a bit steep. Is there any wiggle room on the cost?
Well, Marcus, I understand your concern. The sticker price is $1,200, but we do have a promotion running this week. I could knock off about $100.
That's better, but I was really hoping to keep it under $1,000. Is that doable?
Let me check with my manager, but I have to be honest, we're already offering a pretty good deal. This model usually retails for $1,400.
I appreciate that, but I'm on a tight budget right now. Maybe I should look at something a bit more affordable.
Actually, Lisa, wait. What if I throw in a free laptop bag and extended warranty? That's about $150 in value. Would that sweeten the deal?
That's actually really generous. You know what? I think I can stretch my budget a little for that. Let's do it.
Great! And just so you know, we offer a payment plan if you want to spread the cost out over a few months.
Oh, that's perfect. I'd rather not pay it all up front if I don't have to.
No problem at all. A lot of our customers prefer to break it into smaller payments. Makes it easier on the wallet.
Okay, so much natural language in there. Did you catch how the customer said the price was steep and asked if there was wiggle room?
Yes, wiggle room is such a great expression for asking if a price can be negotiated. It's way more natural than saying, "Can you reduce the price?"
And the salesperson said they could knock off $100. That's a really common way to say you can reduce the price. You're literally knocking money off the total.
I loved how the customers said they were on a tight budget. That's such a polite way to explain that you can't afford the full price. It's not embarrassing, it's just practical.
And when the salesperson offered to throw in the laptop bag and warranty, that's another supernatural expression. To throw something in means to include it as a bonus or extra.
Right, and they said it would sweeten the deal, which means make the offer more attractive. It's like adding sugar to make something taste better.
And the customer said they could stretch their budget, which means they could spend a little more than they originally planned. That's such a useful phrase for negotiations.
Oh, and I noticed they talked about paying up front versus a payment plan. Upfront means paying the full amount immediately, while a payment plan lets you pay in installments over time.
Exactly, and the phrase easier on the wallet is so natural. Your wallet is where you keep your money, so if something is easier on your wallet, it's more affordable or manageable.
These are the kinds of conversations that happen every day, and knowing these expressions can really help you navigate shopping situations more confidently.
Absolutely, and what I love is how polite and respectful both people were. Even when negotiating, they were friendly and understanding.
That's such an important point. Money conversations don't have to be awkward or confrontational. With the right language, they can be perfectly natural and pleasant.
And you know what else is interesting? Different situations call for different levels of formality when talking about money. Like with your friends, you might say, "I'm broke," but at the bank, you'd probably say, "I'm having some financial difficulties."
Oh, that's so true. Banking language is definitely more formal. Instead of saying, "I need some cash," you might say, "I'd like to make a withdrawal," or "I need to access my funds."
Right, and if you're having money problems, you wouldn't tell your bank manager, "I'm totally strapped for cash." You'd say something like, "I'm experiencing some temporary financial hardship."
It's like code switching. You adjust your language based on who you're talking to and what the situation is. With friends, casual is fine. With professionals, you need to be more formal.
Exactly. And speaking of professional situations, let's talk about work-related money expressions. Like when you get paid, you might say, "I got my paycheck," or "Payday is Friday."
And if you're doing well at work, you might get a raise or a bonus. A raise is when your regular salary goes up, and a bonus is extra money for good performance.
And here's something that might surprise our listeners. We have lots of casual ways to talk about payday. People say, "I get paid on Friday," or "It's payday," with excitement.
Yes, and if you're waiting for payday because you're low on money, you might say, "I'm counting down the days until payday," or "I can't wait for payday."
Or the classic, "I'm living paycheck to paycheck," which means you spend all your money before you get paid again. It's a pretty common situation, actually.
Unfortunately, yeah. And when people are living paycheck to paycheck, they often have to be really creative with their money. They might say, "I'm watching every penny," or "I'm being really careful with my spending."
Watching every penny is perfect. It means you're being very careful about how you spend money. You're literally watching where every penny goes.
And if you're trying to save money, you might say, "I'm cutting back on expenses," or "I'm trying to cut corners." Both mean you're spending less money than usual.
Cutting corners is interesting because it can mean spending less money, but it can also mean taking shortcuts to save time or effort. Context is everything.
Great point. And here's one that's super useful: getting your money's worth. That means you're getting good value for what you paid. Like if you pay for a gym membership and you go every day, you're getting your money's worth.
I love that expression. And the opposite would be throwing money away or money down the drain. That's when you spend money on something that doesn't give you any value.
Oh, money down the drain is so visual. It's like your money is literally going down the drain and disappearing. We use it when we feel like we wasted money.
And sometimes people throw good money after bad, which means they keep spending money on something that's already failed. Like if your car keeps breaking down and you keep paying for repairs instead of buying a new car.
That's such a practical concept. And you know what's funny? We also have positive expressions about money that don't really involve spending or saving, like time is money, which means your time is valuable.
Right, and money talks, which means that having money gives you influence or power. These aren't really about transactions, but they show how money affects our thinking about life.
And here's one that's really encouraging. Money can't buy happiness. It reminds us that there are things more important than money.
Although people also say money can't buy happiness, but it can buy ice cream, and that's pretty much the same thing. That's just a humorous way to say that money can buy things that make us happy, even if it's not happiness itself.
I love that. And you know what? These philosophical expressions about money show up in everyday conversation more than you might think. People use them when they're talking about life choices or priorities.
Absolutely. And it brings up another interesting point, how we talk about financial goals and dreams. Like people might say, I'm saving up for a house, or I'm putting money aside for retirement.
Saving up and putting money aside are such natural ways to talk about saving for something specific. It sounds much more conversational than, I am accumulating funds.
And if you're really focused on saving, you might say, I'm being really disciplined with my money, or I'm sticking to my budget. These show that you're being intentional about your finances.
I love sticking to your budget. It's like your budget is a plan and you're following it closely. And if you go over your budget, you might say, I went a little overboard, or I overspent this month.
Overboard is perfect. It's like you were on a boat and you fell over the side. You went too far. And it's not too serious. It's just acknowledging that you spent more than you planned.
And sometimes people have to dip into their savings when they overspend. That means you have to take money out of your savings account to pay for something.
Right, and ideally, you want to build up your savings over time. That means you're consistently adding money to your savings account to grow it.
These expressions are so practical because they help you talk about your financial journey. Whether you're struggling, doing okay, or doing really well, there are natural ways to express it.
And here's something really cool. A lot of these expressions can be used metaphorically, too. Like if someone invests a lot of time in learning English, you might say, they're really investing in their future.
That's beautiful. Investing in your future doesn't have to be about money. It can be about education, skills, relationships, health. The language of money helps us talk about value in all areas of life.
Exactly, and that's why learning these expressions is so valuable. They don't just help you talk about money, they help you sound more natural and fluent in all kinds of conversations.
And honestly, if you've been listening to this whole conversation and following along, you're already investing in your English skills. You're getting your money's worth from this free content.
See what she did there? But seriously, if you're finding this helpful, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and let us know which expressions you're going to try using first.
Yes, and don't be afraid to use these in real conversations. The whole point of learning language is to use it, right? Start with the ones that feel the most natural to you.
And remember, everyone makes mistakes when they're learning. Even native speakers sometimes use the wrong expression or say something awkwardly. The important thing is to keep practicing.
So true. And you know what? The more you use these expressions, the more confident you'll become in all kinds of conversations, not just about money.
Absolutely, because money's connected to everything. Work, relationships, hobbies, learning English, hobbies, food, entertainment. These expressions will come up everywhere.
And that's the beauty of natural English. Once you learn these patterns, you'll start recognizing them in movies, podcasts, conversations with friends, everywhere.
It's like having a key that unlocks a whole new level of understanding. Suddenly, English that seemed confusing before starts making perfect sense.
I love that metaphor. And you know what? That's exactly what we're trying to do with this podcast. Give you those keys to unlock natural, confident English.
And if you want more keys, more practical expressions, and more real-world English, make sure you're following us. We're always breaking down the kind of language that textbooks don't teach you.
Plus, we love hearing from our listeners. Your questions and comments help us create content that actually helps you in your English journey.
So whether you're broke, loaded, or somewhere in between, we're here to help you sound more natural and confident in English. And honestly, that's an investment that pays dividends forever.
perfect way to end it. See, even our conclusions are full of money expressions. That's how natural this language really is.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and remember your English journey is worth every penny you invest in it.
And if you got value from this episode, share it with someone who might need it too. After all, the best investments are the ones you share with others.
Love it. Thanks for hanging out with us today, everyone. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye for now.